Hello, this is Good Karma Domes, do-it-yourself kind of business. This table right here is very important. It's a big triangular table. It's one of the tools we're going to be using today. You'll use it throughout the project. You might as well get started making one of these. You'll get the idea after here in a bit. This is my joiner, our joiner. This is a 6-inch Rockwell Delta. You'll need it to make your angles with. Over here is a radial arm saw, and you're going to need a radial arm saw, nail guns, the pouch. Carpenter needs a pouch, nail bag, tape measure, hammer, dress accordingly. You know, get the props. The wife will love it. You know.
Hey, Travis here. I just wanted to emphasize a little about what James said on the different tools that were needed. Cutting up all the struts and blocks. A radial arm saw is a real good tool to use for cutting the ends at the right angles. You do need to make sure you have a good straight in and out feed table so that way you can slide your struts down the table from one side to the other, and your cuts are always the same because you're up against your feed tables. You also need to be able to have a block of wood either screwed to the end or a clamp, a block of wood or something that'll make you an end stop. That way you don't have to measure every piece of wood. Once you get it set to the right length, you can run through them pretty quick. James mentioned a joiner. He showed how to use it. It's a real good tool for trimming the sides of the lumber, but there are some different alternatives. You noticed in his do-it-yourself plans, he remarks about using the radial arm saw instead of the joiner to rip the 2x. You just turn the saw blade basically parallel to your fence and run them through there. You can do the same thing kind of with a table saw, but you got to be aware if you've got crowned wood that you'll end up trimming off your corners, and when you flip it over to do the other side, it'll cut off the middle if your wood's not straight. And so that's why the joiner is the best, because you don't have that warpage problem when you're running with the joiner. Also, I think you can still get by with using a compound miter saw instead of the radial arm saw for cutting the angles at the ends, as long as your miter saw can do the angles. It can swing as far as it needs to and is big enough that it can handle the width of the 2x6 if you're doing the 2x6 size dome. See, also you're going to need a circular saw for cutting out your plywood for the decking. And if you can't follow a straight line and cut it, then you're probably going to want an edge guide to where you can clamp to your wood and then follow that with the circular saw. You might get pretty experienced by cutting straight lines by the end of cutting 120 pieces of plywood. Also, you're going to need a long straight edge, or like he had a 6-foot level to where you can kind of show if your 2x4s are straight, especially when you go to build the blocking. Because if you build your triangles with curved wood and then you go to bolt it together, they're not going to fit very well. You'll either have lumps in the middle or they'll be concave and you'll have gaps between the triangles. Talk just a second about safety. Remember to read and follow all the instructions and safety warnings for all the tools you use. Wear appropriate personal safety equipment. Keep a clean and organized work area so you're not tripping over scraps of wood and stuff. And James always stressed this, to keep bystanders, kids, and pets kind of away from your working area. You don't need the distractions when you're working around a saw. Not only with you wearing like safety things, the kids would need to wear safety protection.